All right, well, let's give this a shot here. And he'll do a short review from Sunday's North Dakota State game, and then he'll take your questions on Providence. Here's Coach.
We just got finished up with practice. I think the biggest thing that stands out for me from the weekend is defensively. We've got a long way to go. We're playing obviously a lot of newcomers and young guys. I think maybe what put it in perspective for me a little bit last night is I turned on my television set and I'm watching a little bit of Baylor and Oregon, and I think maybe a couple freshmen got in the game, and that was about it. And those guys played low minutes. So we're right now from a habit standpoint defensively. We got tested heavily over the weekend by two really good shooting teams, two veteran teams that returned a ton from NCAA tournament appearances. And we knew it was going to be a challenging weekend for sure, even when we scheduled it. But I think obviously with some of the other guys, with some guys being out and having some of those guys maybe thrust into situations, especially on the defensive end that are new for them, I thought long term it's going to be good for us. I do. I'm excited about that. I think those guys, if we can kind of stay the course here and get a little bit better every day, especially on that end of the floor. I like what we're doing right now offensively. I think we can certainly fine-tune some things and get a little bit better there, but obviously we played inside out. I thought our front court was terrific on Sunday, which was, I thought, huge for us. And then I thought even some of the younger guys did some better things defensively on Sunday than they did on Friday, as they learned the hard way on Friday against a very veteran team and a team that was really good offensively. So, we're a work in progress. We've got some guys obviously coming back here. LaRon Black did practice here today and looked pretty good. In fact, it's the best he's looked. He's making a lot of progress quickly, which is exciting. It was great to have him out there on Sunday for his 15 minutes, and hopefully we can continue to progressively play him a little bit more. Jalen obviously is still still day-to-day at this point. We're trying to figure out at this point what's wise for him long-term. I don't expect to have him tomorrow night unless, something miraculous happens. I just don't think that's going to happen. It's my gut with that. So obviously we'll lace up with who we have and try to figure it out. I thought we got a little bit better today at practice. Went a little longer than what I wanted because I'm trying to drive home some habits and accountability things with some of the younger guys, especially on the defensive end. Obviously we're not excited that we gave up 17 threes over the weekend, and we talked a great deal about that. But there's just so many things those guys have to get better at right now. And, I think it's going to be something that we're going to have to, there's no shortcuts to it. We're going to have to be aggressively patient, hold them accountable, but at the same time, you can't wave a magic wand either. In terms of Providence, obviously they're really, really good. Coming off the NCAA tournament from last year with a lot of people have done as the preseason national player of the year, a guy that potentially would have been a lottery pick that turned down that opportunity to come back to school and make an impact on his program and team. He's just really good. He affects the game at both ends of the floor. He's terrific defensively. He's terrific offensively. He's got great size for his position. The kid Bullock, who's been there for a while but has not played for a couple years, is also talented. Has three-point range, can put the ball on the floor, play in the post, long post, low post, on the perimeter. A tough cover because of his versatility, his size, and he's a really good offensive rebounder. Fazekas obviously shoots the ball really well from three, and then they've got some other guys that play their roles very well. They're dangerous on the offensive glass. They change up defenses a lot. You obviously have to take care of the ball. I thought that was a big thing in watching the Harvard game over the weekend. I thought Harvard was well coached and it's a really good team. Obviously you turn it over 22 times like they did. It's hard to win, certainly win on the road. So, and it's easier said than done. The kid Dunn had 8 steals and was 5th in America last year in individual steal percentage. And he's just a thief on the defensive end, and I mean that certainly in a good way. It's going to be a challenge for us for sure, but our guys are looking forward to that challenge, and we'll be leaving here shortly and and be ready when the ball tips tomorrow night. Questions?
Well, John, this is Mark. How the hell do you guard John? What are the challenges with him, John?
I'm sorry?
How do you deal with Dunn? What are the challenges with him?
Well, obviously, he's just so well-rounded, Tup. He can hit you from long range. He's great at getting to the paint. He draws fouls. He's a good rebounder for a point guard. Exceptional with that, which is unique. They post him, which is obviously unique for a point guard. I mean, he affects the game on the defensive end. He affects the game on the backboard. He affects the game on the offensive end, and it's why he's the preseason National Player of the Year. And he's a terrific talent. He's unselfish. He can really pass. He can really see. And at 6'4", at 200 and some pounds, I mean, he's a load to deal with at that position. So you just have to make it as tough on him as you can, and maybe hopefully catch him on an off night.
It's Rob. You changed the first five in the second half on Sunday. It wasn't the same five as the starting lineup.
Sure.
You foresee any changes tomorrow?
Possibly. Yeah, possibly. Right now we're trying to figure that out, obviously, with our roster in a little bit of flux with the injuries in terms of what's best. Right now, obviously, the spotlight for us is on defending much better than we did, certainly in 3 of the 4 halves over the weekend, and holding guys accountable to that as best we can. And a lot of that will be determined on that end of the floor.
John, just one other one. Your first road game, but you've spent a lot. You guys have got a lot of hotel time between Europe and Springfield and so forth. Does that help you here in that you guys are certainly used to traveling together?
Yeah, I think so. The guys have made light of it. How we have an NBA travel schedule here for the entire month of November. Obviously, we had Europe, played 4 games over there. We had the scrimmage against Xavier, the exhibition game in Springfield, 2 games in Springfield. So we're going to end up playing, in essence, including exhibition games and scrimmages in Europe, our first 13 games, away from the State Farm Center. So, those guys they've been pretty good with it. I mean, they understand. I think it will make us a little bit tougher, a little bit more seasoned, a little bit more, hopefully grittier when we get in those situations moving forward. But, a lot of it, you can't control that. What you can control is, your preparation, and you're trying to develop winning habits at both ends of the floor. Right now, some guys have got to keep getting better in a lot of different areas, and especially our young guys. And, we're going to stay on those guys as best we can. And I think our upperclassmen, as I alluded to the other day, have done a really good job of trying to help them. They know. I mean, they get it. Tracy Abrams knows how many minutes he was playing his first couple games as a freshman. Finke knows he was redshirted. LaRon knows. Kendrick knows. Malcolm knows. They know. And I think it's been pretty neat to watch those guys try to help our newcomers, and in particular our younger guys, freshmen, kind of progress and move forward. And, I think the more guys, obviously, that we have with those winning habits, the better. And I'm hoping this experience we're going through early really helps us become a better basketball team down the road.
Coach, this is Derek. Dunn obviously has a incredibly high usage rate for good reason. Is it a matter of getting the ball out of his hands, and do you feel like you have to do different things defensively to get that done?
Obviously his use rate is really high. It reminds me a little bit of Cooper, who and the kid we play Cooper I had at Ohio, and then the kid we played on Friday night, Dallas Moore. That's easier said than done, Derek, with the new rule. And again, I can't emphasize enough, and I said this the first time DB was up in my office and talked about all the rule changes, the focus that everybody had on the 30-second shot clock. And I realize that's, maybe the sexy choice that everybody sees, and that's the headlines of the rule changes. But the one that caught me right from the jump was the 5 unlimited dribble, no 5-second count on a live dribble. So when you have that as the new rule with a guy like a Dallas Moore on Friday night or a guy like this kid on Wednesday, it's easier said than done when you say, hey, take the ball out of their hands. I think that new rule really favors that type of player.
Is that all for Coach? All right. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank
Hey,
you.
appreciate it, guys. See some of you over there.